Hey, this is Kristen with KiwiboxDotCom, and we're standing here with Clint from Ubisoft, and he's going to tell us about Far Cry 2. Now, what are some of the big new features that we have on this that we didn't see in the first game?
Oh wow, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, the original Far Cry I think really captured people's imaginations by being a game where it was like you looked at the screenshot and you're like, I don't believe that that's going to be like that. And then you got your hands on the game and you're like, it really was. It was like this world that was like super open and super organic and super beautiful all at once, and no one had ever done that before. So for us it was like, how do we recapture that? How do we have it be even more open? How do we have it be even more beautiful? How do we have all of these things that everybody wanted from the original? So we've got a 50 square kilometer open world set in Africa where you can go wherever you want, anytime. It's all dynamically streamed. You'll never see a loading screen in the game. You're always in the world. We built our own engine from the bottom up to make sure that the graphics would be top notch on PC and on console. You're going to see it running, in super high resolutions on quad cores on PC with video cards that haven't been released yet for Vista and DX10. And then you're going to be able to run it really good settings because of the optimizations we made for console on a single core PC. We'll be announcing our min spec on Friday probably. What's different so much? I mean, fire propagation. I mean, being able to walk through a savanna field and the enemy comes rolling in their truck and you want to deal with that. I mean, you pull out a flamethrower, you start a fire, the fire starts spreading, it gets in the trees, the enemy's cut off from their vehicle. You kind of hide behind a rock and wait for them to run away from the fire and pick them off. I mean, so much freedom to play the game the way you want to play it, and delivering on those core promises of the original Far Cry and like knocking them out of the park.
And of course, all of this stuff is dependent on the game's new engine. Would you care to talk about that a little bit?
We built the game's engine, the Dunia engine. We built it from the ground up because our original goals were like open world shooter with best graphics you're going to see in this generation. And how do you do that? No one really knew how, and we said we needed to build our own engine to do it. And then the thing was, we were originally going to be PC exclusive. We wanted to release a PC-only title so we could really focus on that. But Ubisoft says we're not in the business of like making an engine in order to make a PC game because they don't, they're not selling as well and all the problems with that. So they said you can do it, but you have to make the engine so that it will work for other games. So there was a pipeline team working on the engine to get it to run on console. And when we came back from Leipzig like last year, a year ago, like next week, they came to us and said, hey, we got your game running. And we said, yeah, but no way. There's no way you have our game running on console. And they showed it to us, and yeah, it was like 5 frames per second or something, but we're like, oh no, that's actually our game. And we didn't believe it. All of the things we'd done in terms of, the way we're using really small data and blending everything procedurally to get things that are really light and really fast for streaming for PC to keep that open world moving all the time and dynamic. By building all of the vegetation so that it's dynamic, so that fire can propagate through it, and actually the vegetation itself ends up being very light. It's very processing intensive, but it's not really memory intensive, and that ended up being the thing that made it possible to put the game on console. So I mean, the engine has been sort of the pillar of the whole thing, and there's 40 engineers that worked on that engine for 3 years now, and those guys have done a really amazing job of delivering like a future-proof next-gen engine. It's great.
And what consoles is it on?
Well, we'll be on PC, Xbox 360, and PS3 all simultaneous launch for this fall. It'll be a single player, multiplayer, and a map editor for all 3 versions, and you'll be able to make your own maps for multiplayer, share them on Xbox Live or the PlayStation Network or over the internet for the PC version. All at the same time, as soon as I actually have time to do it.
Great, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Hey, this is Kristen with KiwiboxDotCom, and we're standing here with Julian from Ubisoft. He's going to talk to us about Tom Clancy's EndWar and also some exciting new news about the game. So, give us a little overview of EndWar to begin with.
Well, EndWar, the whole concept behind it was to bring strategy gaming and strategy wargaming to consoles, to the living room experience. And that's something that I think we've achieved, because yesterday it was announced that we were voted Strategy Game of E3 by the official Game Critics Awards. And that's the first time ever for a console game, so we're pretty proud about that.
And what do we see in this game that's like a big improvement over like past like Tom Clancy titles?
Well, thinking of Tom Clancy titles, you've got Rainbow Six, which is anti-terrorist police. You've got Ghost Recon, which is army. You've got Splinter Cell, which is spy. And EndWar is really the massive land battles. Think of Ghost Recon, but times 50. You want to control tanks, you want to control helicopters, you want to control artillery, you can do that. and you can do it all only using your voice, and that's the big hook. You're like a real commander, and you're ordering your troops around. And that's something that's never been attempted before, and I think we've pulled it off.
Do you think this makes the game harder? How do you think people will kind of respond to that?
Actually, when people first get in touch with it, they really get into it, and it makes it more accessible. So you're actually just barking out orders. You're thinking of it, and you're saying it. One of the playtesters that we had in Shanghai called it strategy at the speed of thought. You think it, you say it, it's done. The other big advantage of voice command is that it's very immersive. It's more or less the same thing as a guitar in Guitar Hero, or it's a steering wheel in a driving game. And that's what we wanted to bring.
Give us an example of like a voice command.
Okay, so you can do something very simple, such as Unit 1 attack hostile 4, or you can do calling all gunships go to Foxtrot, calling all tanks move to Sierra, and do very complex things like Unit 4 upgrade Alpha, air support, things like that. Without playing it, it's difficult for me to remember exactly what it was.
Now, so do we use our controllers at all, or is it entirely with your voice?
You're controlling the camera much like you'd control a first-person shooter, and you're using the trigger finger to activate the voice controls. This is because online, when you're playing cooperatively, when your finger's not on the trigger, you're speaking to your co-commanders. When your finger's on the trigger, you're speaking to your units.
So tell us a little bit more about online play.
So the online, what we've done, this is the most ambitious game online that Ubisoft's ever produced. What we've done is we've taken a few pages from MMOs and RPGs, and once you pick a faction, and you can choose from Russia, America, or Europe, you pick a faction, you pick a commander with a specialty, and you'll take your units throughout all of these battles. Every battle will earn you experience that you can use to upgrade your units. Hundreds of different upgrades, both cosmetic and functional. Now, those units, you'll be taking them to battle all around the globe, and every day we're going to update the globe to reflect the results of all the battles that have happened the day before. So let's say there are 100,000 people playing on Paris. 70,000 of those battles are won by the Americans. America will own Paris the next day.
When does EndWar come out?
So EndWar comes out on PS3, Xbox 360, and also DS and PSP this October.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.